Hello, everyone, and welcome to the quarterfinals of the StarCityGames.com Columbus Open Weekend. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, we are here in the booth. Nick Miller is down in the feature match area as we prepare to watch our first quarterfinal matchup that you voted on at home. So thanks for joining us here at twitch.tv/SCGTour and being a member of our feature match area. Carter Newman on your left with Green White Company, Kevin Jones on your right with Jeskai Control. Carter, number 4 overall seed, that's why he's on the play. Kevin, number 5, number 25 on our SCG Tour leaderboard. For Carter Newman, it's a tough matchup in front of him, not impossible, but it will be difficult to win as Kevin Jones has a lot of experience with this style of deck, but also the cards line up pretty well here for Kevin, Patrick.
Yeah. Now, there are still some problematic cards on Newman's side for Jones. 4 copies of Voice of Resurgence. Don't want to be playing against that with a deck that's trying to sit on its heels and play largely on your opponent's turn. Collected Company obviously can generate a lot of value. Tireless Tracker can play a long game. Eternal Witness. Knight of the Reliquary. The things that generate some value. But I think Kevin's mixture of early interaction and then some haymakers like Supreme Verdict, that's a tough recipe.
Well, Kevin used Lightning Bolt right away to take care of that Birds of Paradise via the Scalding Tarn plus Steam Vent. So Jones should be down to 17, Newman at 19 as Jones heads into his second turn of the game. That is a Celestial Colonnade there for Kevin. We'll head back over to Carter Newman. A Windswept Heath, and Carter will sacrifice that. So Carter's going to fall down to 18, potentially lower as he gets a Knight of the Reliquary. Kevin on tap that Colonnade, and he'll draw for his third turn. Snapcaster Mage the draw. Keep in mind, Knight of the Reliquary right now, a 4/4 with 2 fetch lands in the graveyard. So Snap for Lightning Bolt, not going to get the job done. For Jones, he's looking at a hand with Electrolyze, Nahiri, Snapcaster Mage, Cryptic Command, a couple of lands as well. So he would like to get into the later stages of this game, and it looks like we're working our way there already.
And Newman there with a big draw there and finding a copy of Collected Company. There's going to be some pressure on Jones here to answer this Knight of the Reliquary. Whenever he gets an opportunity to do so, he's not going to have the luxury of waiting until the ideal moment. That's likely to result in his shields going down and a spot for Newman to resolve Collected Company.
Well, Newman just playing a Ghost Quarter, passing the turn back for Company, as you did mention. Jones on his 4th turn of the game. We mentioned the Electrolyze in hand, Snapcaster Mage, Cryptic Command, all that good stuff. Nahiri as well.
Just so because like we're literally
Jones will sacrifice a fetch land. Looks like he's going to get himself a Hollow Fountain. This might be on Carter Newman's end step.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, deck lists are public information here, so Kevin Jones knows exactly what he's up against, as does Carter Newman. Jones knows that he's up against a deck that does have Collected Company in it, and a green-white deck that does nothing on the 4th turn of the game. Well, you probably have an idea of what's going on, as we're going to head back over to Kevin Jones. He will draw a card, picked up a copy of Path to Exile, pretty timely in combination with that Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, the Knight of the Reliquary very quickly out of the range of red removal, so Path is the draw.
A Mountain, and now here is Company. This is Cryptic Command. I think we might see counter bounce, potentially. Yep. Had a feeling Kevin may do that. Carter is going to take the opportunity here to activate Knight of the Reliquary, sacrifice a forest to get a different land. Horizon Canopy could be an option here.
I'm a little surprised to see the Collected Company there into the jaws of 4 mana. I think Newman may have had a spot there where he could have been a little bit cagier with that. Try to wait until the shields were down. So there's so much pressure on him to answer that Knight of the Reliquary, and he didn't show the capacity to do so.
A Voice of Resurgence here from Carter Newman. He's going to start by playing Eternal Witness, getting back to Collected Company. Makes a little more sense now, I suppose.
Right, I was critical of that line, but if you had Eternal Witness in hand, then sure, go ahead and fire it off.
Noble Hierarch, the play after the Witness gets back to powerful instant. Torrential Gearhulk, the draw there for Jones. 3 mana, I think it's a pretty good time for an Electrolyze, don't you?
Looks good to me.
1 and 2. That'll take care of both those threats and draw Kevin a card. That's max value there for Electrolyze. He'll play a Glacial Fortress, Will Jones. Picked up a copy of Secure the Waste. He's going to pass that turn back. This deck looks very much like Benjamin Nikolich's, and it should, because the deck lists are very, very similar. Both of those players may top 8 here this weekend. So if you're on the hunt for a modern deck for SCG Dallas, or one of the select few who are trying to figure out what the heck to play at Pro Tour Rivals Vixlon, maybe this is a good way to go. Carter Newman just going to pass the turn back yet again. Jones. Looks like he picked up a copy of Search for Escanta. And he'll just pass the turn back. Here is Collected Company. Newman's going to take a damage because of the Horizon Canopy to cast it. And that's going to resolve.
Pretty fortunate there for Newman that he missed his 6th land drop there. As Torrential Gearhulk. Oh,
yeah,
bingo. Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, I don't know where you put it, but you do get a stamp for this one. As Collected Company only hits 1 creature.
So Scape Shift ends the game is now bingo. None in the top 8.
None
right?
in the top 8. Faded it. Faded it good. There's a voice of resurgence. Collected Company oftentimes a little shy here on the SCG Tour camera. And now here's a Windswept Heath. It's going to search up a land, and perhaps a Knight of the Reliquary will be cast. There is that Knight of the Reliquary. Take 1 from the Horizon Canopy. Carter going to fall down to 12. 2 solid green-white creatures, but these are not creatures that are difficult for Jeskai to answer, Patrick.
Yeah, not with Path plus a lot of ways to recur.
Didn't get a great look. It was actually a Snapcaster Mage that Kevin drew.
Snapcaster
Mage. He's got the ability to say, I will path this. Thank you. Let you get a forest. By all means, have as many lands as you'd like. Let's see what the follow-up is here for Jones.
It's not a bad spot to go up with Nahiri. You could Snapcaster Path, but I'd rather leave the Path in the graveyard for something a little bit more high priority.
Oh, I like it. No fear. Snapcaster Mage coming right into Voice of Resurgence. Jones might get take more of an aggressive slant moving forward, by the way.
So I'm not thrilled with this line from Jones. With all due respect, he plays these decks a lot more than I do. With Newman having Ghost Quarter on the battlefield, I think that I would prefer to just loot that away with Nahiri rather than try to flip Search for Escanta when it's just going to get blown up.
Yeah.
The justification for this, I guess, is if you want to ensure land number 6, so you can cast your Torrential Gearhulk, but Nahiri is also likely to yield land number 6 either this turn or next. So you don't need to lean on Search for Escanta for that.
Here's Knight of the Reliquary. In comes Voice of Resurgence. And Jones will take 2. He's going to fall down to 14. Looking to get Search for Escanta online. He will untap, and he will trigger his powerful blue enchantment. Take a look. We'll give this one a long look over, Will Jones, before deciding that he'd like to keep it. Supreme Verdict is what he's found.
Hard to say no to that one, even though it's a little bit awkward right now. Still, I think too good to say no.
You are playing against green-white creatures, after all.
Right.
Yeah. It can only be so bad. This will be Snapcaster Mage in the main phase. Path to Exile will take care of Knight of the Reliquary once again. Cannot let that get active, excuse me. Carter Newman going to search it up. There's a Plains for him.
And this is what we were speaking to a little bit before we went into the match. It is obvious that Jones has a huge advantage once this game goes deep. Some of the other builds of Jeskai, that's less clearly the case. But now that, Search for Escanta is going, he's got Torrential Gearhulk in hand, Secure the Waste. These are a lot more powerful tools to work with in a deep game than something like Lightning Helix.
Path to Exile will take care of a Snapcaster Mage, and now Horizon Canopy will yield Carter Newman a draw. Next up here for Carter is Courser of Crewfix. Top card, a land. You're about to get another bingo stamp, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think you sat up in your chair a little bit here.
Player investigates.
Oh, hold on.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh man.
Yes.
I mean, Newman knows that he gets washed by Supreme Bird here if he lets it all go.
That's really bad news.
What else? What else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're just gonna take that tireless tracker with you?
Yeah.
What are you gonna? You know.
Yeah. You got to play your cards.
Tell me what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
What's the plan here?
Yep.
Let me know. Yeah, that's right.
There's a tracker. There's
Player investigates.
There's a tech edge. Player investigates. My question, so you have dredge 3 or more in yours. I don't know if there's any dredge cards in the top 8.
Yeah, I'm suspicious.
I'm pretty sure there are not.
Right.
You kind of got screwed by Ross on that one.
Right.
This could be a good comeback by you, by the way. I've been sitting here waiting the entire day to finish this off and have not gotten there. Search for his Conta trigger. Spell Snare, going to go to the graveyard. Kevin will draw. Looks like he picked up a Plains. There's that Plains. Here's that Supreme Verdict. That's going to wipe them all away except for the Elemental token from the Voice of Resurgence Death trigger.
I would have liked to see an attack there from the Snapcaster Mage first.
Field out.
Just see. You
Yeah.
know, what's the harm?
Yeah, let's. As someone who cares a lot about their time, that's the harm.
Yeah, that's the fair counter.
That's the harm. We're going to go back over to Carter now. He's going to sacrifice that Max McVitie Clue token. Picked up another copy of Tracker. So Carter kind of going toe-to-toe with regards to, cards in the long game. All that stuff.
It's just he's got so many, birds in his deck.
Yeah, those are bad.
I mean, he's drawing some cards. If you're just adding up the number of cards each player is seeing, Newman's doing just fine, but the game's a lot more complicated than that.
One nice thing here for Kevin, too, is that he gets to actually control some of the cards he sees with Search for his Conta. Make sure he doesn't see any bad ones. Elemental token going to come across here for 2. Kevin going to take that 2, going to fall down to 12. He does have Secure the Waste in hand, Nahiri, and a Torrential Gearhulk. Jones going to do a little look here with Search. He is going to transform it into Azcanta, the Sunken Ruin. Put that bad boy. That's not good. Mm-hmm.
Come on, Kevin.
You can do it. There you go, buddy.
Come on. There you go. All right.
He'll draw. Path to Exile, always good. Nice clean answer to the tracker. Kevin really looking to grind him down now.
He's got a lot of ways to do
Yeah,
it.
he sure does. Nahiri time, perhaps? Get that Planeswalker established? Yep. Sometimes we forget this card even exists. Nahiri the Harbinger, but it is here. It's going to take care of an Elemental token. Kevin will pass a turn. Looking to activate his Conta potentially. Carter with only 1 card in hand at this point, and he is just going to untap. He'll draw. And now he'll sacrifice a clue. Draw a card, put a counter there on the tracker, collect a company in the draw. Not bad. Not too bad. Here comes Tracker. That's a path. See if Carter wants to sacrifice that Windswept Heath. Perhaps cast Company in response. Going to use a Tech Edge to do it. There is Collect a Company. That's going to resolve. Top 6. This deck will keep coming at you, man.
Found a witness.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Todd Stevens dubbed this deck Value Town because it never really runs out of cards for a green-white deck, something you really wouldn't expect for something in these 2 colors. Here at the witness. There's the knight.
Before any single file line in front of the Legacy Classic scorekeeper, please make sure that you have a photo ID out and ready so that you may quickly
Now path of
receive
resolve.
your prizes.
Well, I think he's going to crack the Heath first here just to get another clue off
Yes,
the tracker,
yes, and then it'll resolve. And you can actually just sack the clue right away. Now that he's got a basic forest untapped. So now path will resolve. And there's a plains that enters the battlefield tapped, thanks to the instant. Carter Newman's got some fight in him. That's for sure. Supreme Verdict count. I'm going to take a little look here.
I believe it's 2 in the main.
You're correct.
And this is why, to circle back to all this, I was not a big fan of playing the Search for Escanta in lieu of Nahiri a few turns ago, because the Nahiri could have been in play several turns, improving his draw step and, you know, threatening all sorts of things. Even getting a Snapcaster Mage would be a huge deal. And instead, he spent several turns with Search for Escanta, had it flipped, and didn't get to activate it once because Newman with access to a couple Ghost Quarter and Tectonic Edge type of cards.
Supreme Verdict, the card that I think Kevin might be looking for here. Another copy in the deck somewhere, and then of course one in the graveyard that he's already cast. Perhaps he finds a Snapcaster Mage to go along with it.
That would play.
Jones prepared to draw here in just a moment.
Did you tweet this? Do it now.
I think he picked up Supreme Verdict actually.
Well, it's Sphinx's Revelation. Whoa.
It's either Rev or Vert. Yeah, it's Rev. Okay. Plus.
And I'm good.
Yeah. Not need. My hand's just the nuts. So. Nahiri working. I'd say overtime, but just doing work right now.
Yes.
No overtime just yet.
Modern Turtle, your pairings have been posted by the Black Gathering Point.
If Sean McLaren is watching right now, he's seeing a Sphinx's Revelation. Kevin's saying he's going, oh yeah.
And at that point, you know, Jones is drawing very big to the other Supreme Vert or a Snapcaster Mage.
It'll be a Rev for 5 if Kevin wants to go that route. He's also got Secure the Waste for a whole bunch. But for now, he's just going to pass the turn back. So Newman's going to untap all of those lands, all 8 of them. He'll draw a card. He's got a pretty large Neither Reliquary, truth be told. Don't know the total size because his graveyard is not fanned out. 2-1 Eternal Witness, 0-1 Birds of Paradise, and a Max McVitie Artifact Clue token. Oh, I got an update on our first match. That was quick. Dylan Donegan. He wants a trophy, folks. He won his match 2-0 over his teammate, Jonathan Rossum. It rhymes with awesome, and he had an awesome weekend, but Dylan Donegan just smoked him. Grixis Death Shadow moving on to the semifinals.
If Newman only offers up the Eternal Witness here, I think you're going to see Secure the Waste. You might see with Secure the Waste regardless.
I think it's a pretty good spot to use it.
It's only this, then it's a great spot to use it.
Going after Nahiri.
Alternatively, you can just take the 2. It's not lethal.
And,
so
peel your 5?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no need to rush on that.
And the way Kevin's been playing this weekend, there's no need to rush on anything. Okay. There's a Corsair crew fix. A Voice of Resurgence on top. There's Rev.
Ha, memories.
It's been a minute.
Me and you, man, we used to fly all over the country just watching this card resolve.
Yeah, watching people just do this until people concede.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels like forever ago we watched Rev Standard. Probably like 4 years ago, honestly.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's 2018 now, so that'd be 2014. My goodness. Well, 5 cards, 5 life.
And Newman can't even fire back with his collected company in that spot because the odds are so high that Jones either has the other copy of Supreme Vert or another Snapcaster Mage. So he's just got to like play on. Hard to do that against 5 new cards.
It's not great. It's not great. Let's see where Kevin wants to go now. Serum Visions. Forgot he even had that in the deck. He'll do a little look in here. Scry 1 and 2. Lightning Bolt and a land. Looks like he's going to keep the Bolt on top, land at the bottom. He can draw that right away with Nahiri. I'm sure he's got some cards he can discard there. There's Nahiri activation. Discard Scalding Tarn. Draw a card. There's the Bolt.
Sitting on Negate, Cryptic, Torrential Gearhulk.
All those cards stink. There's Company. Good time for Negate. Yup. Draw the Voice of Resurgence with the Clue token. Forest on top. Okay. Activate the Knight, maybe?
Don't want to draw a forest here.
Don't really want to draw a forest at all. This deck does a nice job of kind of controlling its draw step for a green-white deck. Drawing cards of clues, Knight and stuff away, Horizon Canopy.
So the green-white value deck can definitely go long. It can generate a lot of card advantage. But who's favored in the long game is a lot more complicated than that. And there are some issues here. One, Newman, as we just see, has dead draws in his deck. Path is not exactly dead, but pretty close to it. Kevin Jones's draws are all mana and interaction. Also, it's much more easy for Jones to interact with the way that Carter accrues extra cards than it is the other way around. Though that is a big draw.
T-Gearhulk.
Legacy Classic top 8 competitors, please convene.
Wonder how we're using this.
Probably tap and draw, I would guess.
Okay.
Again, Legacy top 8 competitors, please convene at table 2.
But Jukabog's a bit of a beating here.
Yeah, no, this is good. I mean, Jones was really in a position to leverage his graveyard, and more importantly, now instead of drawing to Snapcaster Mage along with his one remaining Supreme Verdict, he's really just drawing to the one Supreme Verdict.
All right, Knight. What's Knight want to go get? Ghost Quarter. Just another Todd Stevens MVP. I don't know if I know anyone that likes Ghost Quarter more than Todd Stevens.
This deck plays 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Here come the Knuckleheads.
I think that just was tapped by Cryptic.
Oh, Cryptic. Thank you. Thank you. My apologies.
In response to the Bajuka Bog trigger.
Yep, gotcha. There's Voice. Oh, I guess got to gain life from the Courser there.
Oh, sure.
Yep. There's a lot going on. Can't remember it all. Or something like that. Surprise, surprise. Caleb Shearer won his match 2-0. Decimated Scred Red. So Dylan and Caleb are through. They're on opposite sides of the bracket, though. So Kevin lost his Torrential Gearhulk. No surprise there. He'll draw a card. Picked up a Serum Visions. And he'll likely start with Serum Visions here. Yep. Draw a card. Hit 1, hit 2. Electrolyze, Hallowed Fountain. I like the, okay, let's survey the board. How bad can I get him to Electrolyze? Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I'll take it.
He actually may want to get the Voice of Resurgence off the battlefield at this point because as he is waiting for the Supreme Verdict here, he can just go to Cryptic to tap and draw, buy some time that way. Maybe even just set up a lethal Secure the Waste out of nowhere.
He's going to take care of Knight with Nahiri. Okay.
And honestly, if you secure for enough, you just might not even care about the voice.
You may not, yeah. He's going to path the voice too. And at this point, he doesn't care about giving lands away.
No.
You can have those.
There's no conversion for Newman's deck. That's the other part, another fashion in which Jones is favored as the game goes on for a long time. Both of these players are going to flood out. They're going to look at a lot of lands, and they're going to be pathing each other the whole time. They're going to have a ton of mana to work with. Jones gets to convert into things like Torrential Gearhulk, Sphinx's Revelation, Secure the Waste. There's no analog to that in Newman's deck. Once he has enough mana, past a certain point, I don't even think there's a... Is there even a copy of something like Gavany Township in this deck? Probably not.
I do not believe so, no.
So you're just... He just has more mana than he needs. Jones, as you notice, he's been able to basically tap out any turn. Any turn he wants to, no matter how much mana he has, he can convert all of it.
The wastes are secure. This is for 7. That's funny. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I don't know. Is Kevin going to have some difficulty actually winning the game? Well, secure the waste he's going to use now. He can probably get to another one with Snapcaster Mage. And then, of course, we cannot forget about Old Colonnade.
Yeah.
Poking away. Now, I know there's a Ghost Quarter and a Tectonic Edge out there, but it could lead to victory. You see some blocks here. 7 Warriors will be made from Secure the Wastes.
I mean, I want to just clear out everything. I don't know what the
chumping plan?
Yeah. Stack them all up.
Yeah, I just
all
dump them. There you go. Now he loses 2 of those. He loses that there. Top card's going to get turned face down now. That Collected Company will be coming next turn, most likely. The follow-up, Lotus Cobra. Kevin is drawing a card called Electrolyze. Bzz. Nahiri, going to discard Scalding Tarn. Kevin will draw a card. Found Snapcaster Mage, another good card.
Yeah, you combo that with spells of...
Bzz, bzz. Those are dead.
Didn't even draw off the Electrolyze.
Yeah, needs to draw, yeah. so far ahead, not drawing his cards.
I ran into that problem sometimes with Gataxian Probe, where I was like, "Oh, you're beat." Like, I just saw your hand, you're done, and just forgot to draw.
Yeah.
Happened a fair bit.
Yeah, Secure the Waste tokens. They don't have vigilance. So in for 4. Kevin with Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Bolt, Cryptic Command, knows his opponent is going to be drawing a Eclectic Company that he can happily counter, and this is what we have to call the driver's seat, folks. Yep. Took him a little while to get there.
And it's not like Newman didn't get to do with his thing.
He got to do all of his things.
It's not like the game, he didn't get off the ground. It's not like he found a sources of card advantage. He resolved numerous Collected Companies, numerous copies of Eternal Witness.
He got to do every part of his thing. Straight up.
Counter draw.
Mm-hmm. And he will draw a copy of Lightning Helix, of course. Now it's time for Kev to untap and work his way towards the finish line now.
He's got 2 bolts and 4 tokens, so if he wants to, he can finish off this turn.
Found his Supreme Verdict again, just in case he wants to reset the battlefield. Put you down to 6. Snapcaster Mage 2. Should be pretty clear sailing here for Kevin Jones. He's going to win game number 1 here over Carter Newman. Jeskai Control up a game here over Green White Company. Both players got to do their thing. You see that we're at minute 28 of this match. They'll go to the sideboards where things will get even more grindy with Kevin a bit of a smile on his face. Carter will look at some things, figure out how he wants to get ready for game number 2. In the meantime, we're going to have a few messages from our sponsors. Take a look at some sideboards here between Carter Newman and Kevin Jones, shall we? Green-White Company, Jeskai controls your matchup. Jones able to outgrind Newman that go around. I'm going to start with Newman and his 3 Phyrexian Revokers, 3 Fairgrounds Warden. That's a fun one. 2 Selfless Spirit, 2 Eidolon of Rhetoric, 2 Aethersworn Candace, 1 Reclamation Sage, 1 Gavony Township. You mentioned that one earlier. Energy Explosives. I got to imagine that land's coming in.
Yeah, the Township and the 2 copies of Selfless Spirit, but even that's a little bit shaky in the face of Electrolyze. The rest of this is kind of for other matchups. Not a whole lot to bring in.
Other side of things here for Kevin Jones, 3 Dispel, 2 Celestial Purge, 2 Ruined Halo, 2 Vendilion Click. And Engineered Explosives, a D-Sphere, a Negate, an Elspeth Sun's Champion, Supreme Verdict, and a Wear and Tear.
The extra copy of Supreme Verdict, of course, great here. You could talk me into cards like Detention Sphere, Engineered Explosives. Negate's a little bit on the narrow side, but if the fight is just over Collecting Company, then Jones might want a little bit more insurance there. I also don't mind Elspeth Sun's Champion. Newman attacks largely on the ground, doesn't have access to trample. Some of his marquee threats in the matchup are large. No counter spells, no really way to get off the battlefield. It might be for other matchups, but it might be just a challenging singleton for Newman to beat.
Well, those are the options there for both players. They're going to get to work on the sideboard. You know, this Green-White Company deck, really a deck that Todd Stephens built with the intention of beating Death Shadow and a couple other things. Obviously, big mana strategies with all those Ghost Quarters and other Reliquaries. You can kind of see what the plan is, but also a deck that can go pretty long. We've seen Todd have a lot of success with that deck, especially in some team tournaments last year in 2017, but also some individual success as well. What do you think about Green-White Company as a deck? I know it doesn't really kind of play by your rules, I suppose, of doing broken things, but looks a little bit better than it appears.
I don't know, a lot of mana acceleration on raw rate. Some of the better cards in the format. I think it's a pretty flexible strategy. It's not, like you mentioned, this is not really my kind of thing, but I think this is a legitimate choice.
Other side of things, this Jeskai control deck, it's getting hard to ignore.
Yes, a lot of success. And I also think that it's just a very challenging deck to play against as well. Whether or not your opponent is on the Spell Quell or Geist Insane Draft version or something closer to what Jones is playing is typically not information that you have when you sit down at the table. And what cards you're playing around and what kind of tact you're taking, how cautious are you with your life total early on in the game is a function really of what strategy you're playing against. And if you don't know, you can be costing yourself percentage points there.
You know, some of the cards look weird in the deck. The Secure is one that really stands out to me, but he's been playing it. Nikolic and Kevin's playing the same deck now. Been playing it forever.
Yeah.
So it's got to be pretty good if he's not moving away from it.
Something that I remember from a Jerry Thompson article many, many years ago. This is back during Restoration Angel Standard, but it's a quote that's really stuck out with me about he had a main deck, I believe it was a main deck Supreme Verdict in his more Jeskai tempo build with Sphinx's Revelation, Restoration Angel, and so forth.
Yep.
And I'm going to butcher the quote a little bit, but it was essentially, you can draw all the cards you want, and it doesn't matter if you can't beat the board. And there's something to be said for having one copy of Secure the Waste in a deck that goes really deep, because it is a way to beat the board in a way that a lot of other cards can't necessarily do.
That's true. That's true. It does look a little strange, but it's also a card that people don't really play around. I'll say that.
Well, it's hard to play around. You know what I mean? You can't give this deck other additional draw steps. You can't give it more time. And so it compels you to play in such a fashion, you're under the gun, so to speak, to get the game over with. Newman didn't have the luxury of playing around at that game. I mean, he just had to make his attack, and the ground got swallowed up.
Yep.
He couldn't say go. What was he gonna? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. That's for sure.
Saying go a bunch is also not a good plan against Secure the Waste. You kind of just gotta,
yeah. Great. Another land.
You gotta sort of just do your thing.
Yeah. Does force you maybe into some bad situations. Just a forest here for Carter. He'll pass the turn back over to Kevin Jones, who's got a Celestial Colonnade. Back to Carter, we're going to go. He'll play a Horizon Canopy, fall down to 19, and there is a Voice of Resurgence. That'll demand an answer. Jones does have a copy of Supreme Verdict in hand.
And remember, he goes up to a third copy post-board.
And don't forget that Carter Newman has access to Kevin Jones' deck list and vice versa, so Carter will know that, though it's unclear if he can actually do anything about that. Scalding Tarn there for Kevin Jones. And he will simply pass the turn back. Voice of Resurgence, quite the nuisance that Elemental is.
Yeah, it can be part of a winning game plan, although Newman went through a lot of them in game number one, and Part of it was it just took him a little bit too long to start attacking. But this does give a lot of cover to Newman's most explosive starts.
Windswept Teeth will be the land that Newman does play. He's going to fall down to 18. We'll see how much lower he wants to go. Should be 18 up now.
And it is some padding against Supreme Verdict too. So I don't think this card is a game winner on its own by any means, but it is something that glues together a lot of his best starts. Makes things more complicated for Jones at least.
Newman going to fall down to 16. We'll take a look at the top card here. Let's actually make it 15 because of the Horizon Canopy. Kevin should be falling down to 17 potentially here.
Oh, I would be surprised if he was doing anything at the end of Newman's turn here.
You and me both as he searches up his team vents.
Yeah, just take the one. Don't want to be playing into voice here.
So Kevin will shuffle and present in just a moment. You see the Ghost Quarter on top. That'll be Newman's draw step next turn, most likely. He does have the ability to manipulate that, and Kevin does have the ability to path to exile him and change the top card of his deck if he would like. Kevin with an interesting shuffling method here. See if he can learn from maybe Joshua or Leighton. A real shuffle pro.
Another colleague of mine.
Indeed. Your Hall of Fame Magic player flooded out there in Denver.
He has a shuffling style very well suited to digital games.
If that's not a good beat, I don't know what is. Yeah. Path to Exile going to take care of the Voice of Resurgence. This will allow Carter to search up a land and get a basic forest. We'll see a new card here for him in just a moment. Kevin looks like he's on his way to setting up the first of potentially many Supreme Verdicts. Top card, Reclamation Sage, no targets.
Though it's interesting to me to path on that turn. If you're setting up Supreme Verdict, if that's the ultimate payout here, you don't care if you're triggering the Voice of Resurgence at the end of the turn. And it feels like a leak of information to be pathing right there.
Forest going to enter the battlefield. Corsa will gain Carter Newman a life. This is Noble Hierarch. In for 3, thanks to the Exalted trigger. I think that's on your bingo board.
Attack with Exalted?
Was that on mine?
We've had plenty of Exalted attacks.
Got that already. Got that already. That's me. That's me.
Yeah.
That's me. Got that. My head's in it to win it, though. Revoker. What are we naming here?
Nahiri or, I don't know. Nothing, I guess. I don't know. I think it's just Nahiri.
We'll get confirmation on what the Revoker is naming here. Yeah, name Nahiri the Harbinger. There you go. Lock it down. No way to get that Revoker off the board. That's a Hallowed Fountain. Kevin going to check his hand real quick here. He's happy, at least happy enough, as he will shuffle endlessly and then present in just a moment. Time for Jones to untap his 4th turn of the game as he draws. That's land 4. This is Verdict 1. Away go the Revoker, the Corsair, and the Hierarch. And Jones trying to get himself to the same position he got himself into in the first game. They'll trade resources back and forth, and the idea is that Kevin comes out ahead. Forest the draw, neither Reliquary the draw off the Horizon Canopy. 3 mana. It's a Raminap Excavator.
Oh, the value you see with Horizon Canopy.
I do see.
You just get it back.
I do see. Get to play land from the graveyard. Walking Crucible Worlds is the Raminap Excavator. That is a Sacred Foundation's battlefield tapped. You see Jones' life total is 13. Draw a card.
Oh, he's doing it.
Yeah, you are in love, aren't you? You better kill that thing, or he's going to keep doing that.
You understand the implications of this?
Selfless Spirit the draw. Bang, another Horizon Canopy. In for 2. Wow.
I think the Excavator is a really sweet design.
I think it's a good card.
It's Crucible Worlds is much less rancid of a design when it's on a creature you can kill.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Is one of my all-time favorite Magic stories is someone gunslinging against Richard Garfield was gunslinging at some event. He rarely comes out of the woodwork to play Magic, and you're playing against the person who invented Magic the Gathering. It's like an awesome opportunity to experience the art of the game.
Okay.
And someone walked by and he was just being Crucible stripped by Just unbelievable to do that to Richard.
As it was meant to be played.
Yeah.
That's how the game was meant to be played. Trust me.
This is what you want to share with this person?
Thank you so
Provided
much.
so much joy in your life.
Thank you so much.
Put your land in your grave.
Yeah.
I just love your game so much.
This is an Elspeth Suns champion.
That's game.
That's gonna be hard.
This is what I mentioned. I don't think it's necessarily for this matchup, but Newman is all about slogging on the ground. And Elspeth Suns champion, if you don't have flying, if you don't have trample, you don't have ways to directly answer planeswalkers. And I think Jones has an expectation that this matchup is going to go for a very long time. Getting to 6 mana is part of the experience. So I don't know if Newman can really proceed from here.
This feels like another standard format we've watched. Elspeth, block, block. Block again. I will keep blocking.
I'll go to the other. A minus.
Yep.
A minus.
Yep.
A minus. A plus. A plus. A minus. A minus.
And fly over for the win eventually. And this is a very hard card for Carter Newman to work through.
And the workaround, such as it is getting 4 threats onto the battlefield at least, and then a follow-up Supreme Verdict, and we're done.
We're lights out. Guerrilla radio.
Newman, the look of someone in good spirits in spite of knowing that their goose is cooked.
Yep. It's a bad matchup.
And it's
pretty confident
and
about
again,
that.
it's not like Newman didn't get to do his thing. He got to generate extra cards. He got to accelerate his mana. He got to grind. But
activate Knights.
These decks are just on different levels when it comes to grinding. All of Newman's advantages can be slapped away with a single card out of Jones, and there's no comparison on the other side.
Eternal Witness. See what's going to come back. The selection is Phyrexian Revoker. That is wishful thinking.
It's probably good against this electrolyzed deck.
You got to try something.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, you know.
Got to try something. I agree it's wishful thinking.
I respect the game.
Yeah. Elspeth Suns champion is the name. Jones going to draw a card. Picked up a Vendilion Click, I think.
That's a surprising one to see here, since Newman's so much better at brawling.
Yeah. But Lightning Helix is going to take care of the Revoker, and Jones will get a little bit of life. And now three more soldier tokens from Elspeth Suns champion. Kevin's hand is good, not great.
Well, the major issue here from Newman's side is that Jones has Snapcaster Mage with Supreme Vert in the graveyard. It requires so much extension out of Newman to be able to make any inroads on Elspeth. And if Jones follows up with a sweeper, that I just don't know a sequence of draws that lets him play through that. Like, Newman's losing to the board right now. He needs to do more.
Yes.
And I guess the line you can take is try to have the Reliquary get a Bajuka Bog to at least force him to have Supreme Vert out of hand.
Elspeth up to 6.
But what are you doing here? I mean, if you leave your knight back, then you're attacking with the 2 other creatures, let's say. Jones can just block and trade off.
Oh, yeah, and he'd be probably happy to.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
the only thing I would maybe consider pivoting to, I guess, is maybe Tech Edge you. Try to cut you off a color, potentially.
it still doesn't speak to how he beats the board. That might be a fine line, you know.
I mean, probably doesn't work, but I really don't know how Carter's supposed to beat Elspeth.
He has to attack with the knight to get Jones to even make an honest block.
Mm-hmm.
And if he attacks with the knight, then the graveyard's available, and beating the Snapcaster Mage just seems, you know, how's that supposed to happen?
Let's go with a difficult. Block one, block one, block one. Hold tight. Away they go. They'll be back soon. Don't set them off too far, Kevin.
And the other thing is you can't even really commit the second knight to the board because Jones can just go minus Elspeth.
Mm-hmm.
And then that, you know.
Minus that too. There's Tireless Tracker. Gonna get a Windswept Teeth.
Oh, so much value.
Yeah. Todd Stevens built a nice one here.
Yes.
Built a nice one. You want to play a long game, draw a lot of cards in green and white? Got the deck for you. And can also lock you out of the game eventually. All this deck needs now is like Green Sun Zenith. Be all set. Gonna go back over to Jones. Lightning Helix the draw to go along with old Snappy. Flooded Strand the play. He'll sacrifice a Strand right away. Guy's a Grand Prix champion, SCG Tour champion. Played in the Players' Championship numerous times. Another career that we watched go from.
Played in the World Cup.
Yeah. Another career that we watched go from, you know, pretty good Magic player to really good Magic player here on the SCG Tour.
And in the element, he loves the Jeskai deck.
Oh yeah, this is his home. This is his bread and butter right here. He can do nothing with the best of them. Trust me. He'll target Supreme Verdict. He will Verdict. We'll see a sacrifice there. See Kevin offering to have his deck cut. Of course, post shuffling. We'll see Carter actually search up a land with his Windswept Teeth. Get a second clue. Crack clue right away. And then all these creatures will be gone. And then three little soldiers will be left behind. You want to bet Kevin looks for a 7 on the 6-sided die?
No. It's been around the block.
He's all right. He's locked in. Yeah. That's my move. That's my move. Back over to Carter Newman we go. Courser of Crew fixed the draw. There is that Courser. Top card. That's a Noble Hierarch. And he can't beat it. He just can't beat it. I mean, his hand, we can keep casting spells and everything else, but Elspeth is just too much to overcome. It's the perfect play on the perfect turn for Kevin. It's the perfect card for the matchup, and worst of all for Carter, it's not even here for this matchup.
Yeah, this is just free points on the house, and then his deck, all ground pounders, no trample, very little flying. Elspeth, backed up by anything, is going to be really hard, and that's what you saw.
Yep. So Kevin Jones going to win this match over Carter Newman, 2-0. Jeskai Control will take care of Green-White Company, and that means we've only got one match left to go, and it looks like Nikolic and James Mellish are still playing unless we have a result there, so we'll check on that. But here's what I can tell you as we come back to the booth. Kevin Jones is going to be playing against Caleb Shearer in just a moment, my friend.
Yeah, a very solid matchup there in the top 8 for Jones. Newman can definitely go long as well, but I think Jones just has more haymakers, more problematic cards. Newman can extract value, but Jones can take it away very easily, and the opposite is not true.
Yeah. So back to the booth we go. Senator Phillips, Patrick Sullivan. Hi, how are you?
Hey.
Caleb Shearer, #1 overall seed, in. He wins. Kevin Jones, #5 overall seed. He wins. They're going to play. The semifinals. Other side of things, just waiting to find out if Nikolic or James Mellish won. And then Dylan Donegan, he defeated Jonathan Rossum. 2-0. We got some brooms here.
Yep.
Broom. Okay. Well, what we are going to do here very quickly is we're going to take a short break and get a couple mentions in from our sponsors. See if we can jump over to that backup match here in just a moment. So listen to Twitch. Enjoy some stuff. We'll see you guys back here in about 60 seconds.